Happy opening week at Delmar and Saratoga, everyone. We're going to talk about that on HorseCenter this week. What else, Matt?
Saratoga, Del Mar, and we're going to look back at the Delaware Handicap and Indiana Derby, Lasalle Derby. It's summertime and racing is heating up.
A showdown in the Coaching Club American Oaks and long shots in the Oceanside at Del Mar. Watch it now on HorseCenter. Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the fantastic pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm good, Brian. I'm ready for the big summer action, the big summer meetings starting up this week.
Yeah, we got some big stuff starting this week. But before that, Matt, let's talk about what happened this past weekend. I believe we saw the return of one of the best horses in America. I speak of Elate, the daughter of Medaglia D'Oro, 4-year-old daughter of Medaglia D'Oro, trained by Bill Mott, returned after 8 months away, Matt. Looked like there was little rust as she took over in the Delaware Handicap.
Yeah, Brian, we talked about it on last week's show. We said that if Elate was even close to the kind of horse that she was last year, that she should handle the Delaware Handicap easily. And that's what happens. It turned out to be Bill Mott's third win in the Delaware Handicap. But, he doesn't always have his horses at 100% first time out, and who knows, maybe Elate wasn't at 100% in this race, but she's a very, very special filly 4-year-old, and she's going to fit in really well with the fillies from the West Coast, Abel Tasman and Unique Bella. Hey, Brian, thank goodness for the girls in the racing season right now.
Absolutely. Female divisions are looking strong, and Elate, most importantly right now, Elate looks very strong. We're talking about first Unique Bella, the female sprint champion of last year, stretching out successfully this year. Then Abel Tasman returned, won very nicely in her second start of the year, and she's proven that she can win all over the country. But Elate, Matt, I'm high on Elate. Elate got really good, of course, last summer into last fall. She was beaten in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Forever Unbridled won it that day. But this year, the Breeders' Cup Distaff is at Churchill Downs, and I think that might play into the hands of Elate. She's now 5 of 11 lifetime, 1-for-1 this year. The Delaware Handicap, dominant performance. She won easy, 1.25 miles. It should be on to Saratoga, Matt, for Elate.
Yeah, she might only be 5 for 11, but those big races, those wins have all come later in her career.
Absolutely. Folks, I want to thank you for all the nice messages I got last week. That was nice to see that several of you capitalized on my pick for behind Elate. Sneaky Betty, 85-1. I didn't expect her to be 85-1, but she did get second. So all of you that played her in the exotics and sent me a message, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We try to pick good horses here on HorseCenter, and nice to see Sneaky Betty run at 85-1 for y'all. Now, Matt, let's talk about some 3-year-old races, because they're while Elate, I think, was the star of the week. In fact, she was that star of the week, Matt. We should talk about the 3-year-olds. There were some derbies. We're waiting, as Justify's career is in certain limbo right now. We're waiting for other good 3-year-olds to develop. After seeing what I saw this last weekend, though, Matt, I'm wondering if maybe the biggest 3-year-olds this fall will be the horses Justify's already beaten, such as Good Magic, maybe Hofburg, Vino Rosso, maybe what's the tight end's name? Gronkowski from Europe. And hopefully Audible comes back. We'll have to wait and see on that as well. But we did have the Lasalle Derby out at Los Alamitos. And I think there's a promising winner, especially if you watch the race, Matt.
With talking about Justify right now, it looks like with the 3-year-old males, it looks like the results of the Triple Crown, where Justify was head and heels above everybody else, and now with some of those other stars still waiting to make their return, we're getting different winners in every one of the derbies that comes along. But if we start out west with the Lasalle Derby, it was not the big favorite Baffert horse that won the race. Axeman was the big favorite, odds on, ended up on the lead, but fading in the stretch. All the other big names, Blended Citizen, finished last in the field of 5. Draft Pick had the lead and gave it up to the other Baffert, Once on Whiskey, a Bodemeister that was sent off at 7-1, rallied from last to first. Didn't really look like he was going to get there in the stretch, but plugged away and got up for the win.
Yeah, a strong performance to be sure. Now, we can certainly question the class of this field. First off, Axeman has had some impressive races. He won the Sir Barton in the slop, but he's been odds on and very disappointing in his last 2 races, the Matt win here at Churchill Downs and now the Lasalle Derby. So we have to wonder about the future of Axeman in strong 2-turn races. That looks in doubt. Blended Citizen coming out of the Belmont, that's tough. And he did not fire. Draft Pick has run now several good races after kind of a slow start to his career. And Draft Pick did run a very good race, eventually putting away Axeman, who had a little resistance there in the stretch. And he looked home free, Matt, as you mentioned, Once on Whiskey. That's why I think it was impressive. 148 and change, pretty good time. But Once on Whiskey really kicked it in late. And before this, he had only sprinted. In fact, he only had 3 lifetime races before. Good enough in those sprints, but his first time around 2 turns, 1 1/8. Once on Whiskey, as you mentioned, Baffert, a son of Bodemeister, looks like at least a horse to watch. But of course, there are better 3-year-olds that he'll have to beat out there. Speaking of needing better 3-year-olds, Matt, I think that was the case also in Indiana, the Indiana Derby. I was up there. It had a deep field, I suppose, of a lot of horses who might be good, decent horses. King Zachary was the clear favorite and really didn't run his best after winning the Matt win. He was 4th. But an exciting finish in which Mike McCarthy trained Axelrod, son of Warrior's Reward, another horse who looks to be getting good, ran down Trigger Warning late in the stretch of the Indiana Derby.
Yep, Michael McCarthy coming from California. That horse was 12-1, Brian. So a nice price in there. Got Florent Giroux up, and kind of he gave one of his patented rides. He's a heck of a good rider coming from behind. He's a good rider on the lead too, but most of the race, Axelrod was towards the back of the pack and made a move around the turn, but similar to the Lasalle Derby, coming down the stretch at 16th pole, it looked like that Axelrod had an awful lot to do, but kept coming, and with one late surge at the end, was able to get up by a head. A very nice ride by Giroux, a nice move from the back of the pack from Axelrod.
Absolutely. A pretty impressive performance. Now, the horse who looked home free in this one, Trigger Warning, is a talented horse talented son of Candy Ride, who seems to be putting it all together. He ran a very good, after a couple sprint wins in a row, he ran a very good race in the Ohio Derby, which I thought was a little bit stronger overall than this Indiana Derby. But if you watch Axelrod, Matt, here, and I'm thankful that he got up at 12-1 for my tickets. That was a nice win at 12-1. But if you watch him, he really made a move. He busted through between horses on the turn and was running the entire stretch. It looked like he might have lugged in a little bit. A horse on the inside might have lugged out a little bit. He was slowed down by a brushing in mid-stretch, which I thought would probably cost him the race. But again, he really kicked it in when he straightened out and got up very late in a pretty exciting Indiana Derby. Probably Once on Whiskey is the more interesting horse going forward with his such a lightly raced horse. But Axelrod, he showed speed last time out in California, and this time he came from well off it. This was his first race away from the West Coast. So I think there is some potential for Once on Whiskey, but Axelrod as well, the Indiana Derby winner. But certainly the most impressive winner of the night at Indiana Grand, Matt, came in the Indiana Oaks. Talk Move to Me only had 4 races going in, but she was a good second, impressive maiden winner a few starts back, and then a good second in a very fast sprint at Churchill Downs. Then she ran a sneaky good race in the Acorn. You know, it seemed like Monomoy Girl was the dominant winner, but looking at the replay of the past performances, Talk Voop to me really kept running in the Acorn. She was only beaten 2 lengths. Then she got a little bit weaker field in the Indiana Oaks, and it was all Talk Voop, Matt.
Yeah, class relief is a pretty wonderful thing. And Talk Voop to me is from the barn of trainer Rudolph Brissett, who we got to know on the Derby Trail. Of course, he had Quip there, former assistant of Bill Mott, got some nice horses in his barn. And Talk Voop to me is another horse in the really terrific 3-year-old filly division. You know, he's going to have to pick his spots with that horse, because when you're talking about the horses, and we'll talk about him a little bit more towards the end of the show in that division, that's a tough bunch in there. But a nice performance for that Rudolph Brissett trainee.
Yeah, we've been talking about the 3-year-old fillies now for weeks, how well they're doing, and they keep throwing in these big performances. Perhaps they keep flattering Monomoy Girl horses that she's beaten. But Talk Voop to me, you know, she went from sprinting to the 1-turn mile in the Acorn, where I said, again, it was a very good performance, beaten 2 lengths by Monomoy Girl. She kept trying on the rail that day. And then this was her first time around 2 turns. She's out of the young sire, Violence. And Talk Voop to me, you know, her connections were saying before the race that they have every reason in the world to believe that she can handle 2 turns. Leperoux jumped off saying, yes, she wants to run 2 turns. And this was easy and impressive. And I think Talk Voop to me, she's got a little bit more to prove maybe than Red Ruby, or certainly Wonder Godot and Midnight Bassoon and obviously Monomoy Girl. But Talk Voop to be now 5 races deep and 1 2-turn race deep into her career. Looks like the real deal. And I think she would have taken down the boys had she been in the Indiana Derby, but that's another story. And Matt, one last mention I want to make from the weekend, and that was Voodoo Song, of course, who was the hero at Saratoga last summer with all those wins for trainer Linda Rice. Ran a very nice race in the Forbidden Apple. Things will get tougher for Voodoo Song this year, as I expect he will take on the big boys at Saratoga, but a nice win at a mile, a fast win at Belmont, as a lot of races have been on the Belmont turf. But Voodoo Song winning the Forbidden Apple Saturday at Belmont was our last race to mention from the weekend before we get into our stakes preview. Hey, Matt, this week is a very cool week. Not only is the Open Championship, the British Open Championship going on in Carnoustie, but in horse racing, we got the opening of Del Mar and Saratoga, our favorite summertime tracks. Let's talk Saratoga first. And Saratoga is not going to come in like a lamb, Matt. They got some big races. Friday, we see 2-year-olds in the Schuylerville. We got the Lake George for 3-year-old turf fillies. Saturday, we have the Sanford for the 2-year-old boys. We have the Diana, which we're going to talk about a little bit in a minute as well. But I think the big race of the opening weekend at Saratoga is the Coaching Club American Oaks.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brian, the last few years, opening weekend at Saratoga has been absolutely fantastic. Those races have been star-studded. I love opening weekend. I love, like you said, the combination, the variety of races that are in there. The 2-year-old fillies, the 2-year-old boys, and then the races on the turf, and the Coaching Club American Oaks, where in the past we've gotten to see Songbird, and this year it's a fantastic race. It's not one of those stacked, days and one of those big event days at the New York tracks where there's 5 grade 1s, but for a weekend of racing, it has been fantastic the last few years. You can see how excited I am, Brian, because I'm going to be there.
Folks, I was just going to say, Matt is jumping out of his camera here. You can tell he's excited for Saratoga. And yes, Matt will be there. So make sure you say hello to Matt up at Saratoga. Unfortunately, I won't be there, Matt. But in the Coaching Club American Oaks. We can only hope that it matches for excitement last year's Coaching Club American Oaks, where Abel Tasman and Elate threw down the stretch at Saratoga. This year, we're expecting a pretty short field, which could be advantage to the horse with more tactical speed. But either way, I think we're really in for an interesting showdown here with Mon Amoy Girl. 4 for 4 this year, Matt. 3 straight Grade 1 wins. And Midnight Bassu, who's 4 for 5 with her only loss coming in the Kentucky Oaks, where she was favored, finished third, had a little disadvantage of the trip and the track conditions. So round 2, Mon Amoy Girl, Midnight Bassu, the most accomplished 2 3-year-old fillies in a very strong division in American racing.
Yeah, Brian, and not long ago we weren't expecting Midnight Bassu in the Coaching Club American Oaks. That was not the original plan. But after her big win and she came out of the race so well, new trainer Steve Asmussen said, "Hey, this girl's ready to run." So they're putting her in the Coaching Club American Oaks, and I guess Asmussen would know. He's trained some pretty darn good fillies over the years. We think about Gun Runner and some others, but with Rachel Alexandra and My Miss Aurelia and so many good fillies that he's trained. If he thinks she's ready to run again, we got to think about it a lot. But face it, Mon Amoy Girl, a horse who has never run a bad race in her career. You always talk about horses, they can't keep running well. They can't keep running well all the time, but she never has not run well. So it's going to be a great race to see.
That's right, man. Mon Amoy Girl, the daughter of Tapizar, is 7 of 8 lifetime, and her only loss. By the way, she began her career. Indiana Grand people are proud of Mon Amoy Girl because she began her career at Indiana Grand on the turf last summer. So look where she's gone since that debut race at Indiana Grand. She's 7 of 8 lifetime. Her only loss was a tough loss last fall at Churchill Downs to Road to Victory. Otherwise, she'd be perfect in 8 starts. 4 for 4 this year. She's done different things, coming from out of it when she broke poorly, leading the whole way, stalking and pouncing. She's gone back from 2 turns to 1 turn. Now she'll be back up to 2 turns. She's never raced at Saratoga before, and she probably hasn't faced the very best from Midnight Bassu yet either. As I mentioned, I think the Kentucky Oaks wasn't her best setup. Mike Smith on Midnight Bassu, Florence Giroux on Mon Amoy Girl. This should be an interesting matchup. I don't know if it'll be a great betting race. This time, Mon Amoy Girl should go favored, but I think Midnight Bassu is going to get a lot of action too. Like I said, probably a short field in here. But I think Mike Smith is going to be watching Mon Amoy Girl the whole way, and I expect a closer decision than as what happened in Kentucky for the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's going to be a great betting race. I think it would be pretty tough to, as a bettor and a handicapper, to throw both of those horses out and find a big price. Because if you throw both of those horses out in the win spot, you're going to get a really nice price. But boy, I don't know. It would be really hard to imagine either Mon Amoy Girl or Midnight Bassu not finding the winner circle.
Yeah, this is a race about those two, really, and I expect them to run 1-2. I will not be touting any 85-1 shots in this one, Matt. I'm sticking with Mon Amoy Girl this time because of the tactical speed, but I really expect them to probably have a photo finish to side one in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Exciting stuff in a great division, a 3-year-old filly division that just continues to impress late spring and this summer so far. So the Coaching Club American Oaks is the headliner. But how about Saturday's Diana, Matt? Because Chad Brown, Saul Cumin, by the way, is now part owner of Midnight Bassu as well, and he's going to put both of those fillies into the Coaching Club American Oaks. Chad Brown is running 2 really impressive-looking turf mares. I'm talking about a Raving Beauty and Sister Charlie. We expect both in Saturday's Diana, and I'm excited about that one as well.
Oh, for sure, Brian. And when I was talking about that opening weekend also before, another thing to talk about with that opening weekend is that it's a little bit of a snapshot of the of the trainer race at Saratoga, which the last few years has been a battle between Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown, and Todd squeaked out a win last year, but we're talking about Chad winning so many races on the turf and having so many quality horses to enter in all of those turf races. And Pletcher, on the other hand, with the 2-year-olds. So Pletcher's got a chance to get a shot, get off to a great start in the Schuylerville and the Sanford, and Chad has a great chance to get started in the Diana and the Lake George.
That's right. And getting back to that Diana, I think a Raven Beauty and Sister Charlie are probably the two most impressive turf fillies I've seen this year in America. So it'll be really interesting to see them match up. They've been terrific since coming over from Europe. The Diana, the Coaching Club American Oaks, all the others, the 2-year-old stakes, the Lake George. Folks, all I can say is enjoy opening weekend at Saratoga. It starts Friday. Matt, you enjoy opening weekend at Saratoga as well.
Thank you, Brian. I will.
All right, Matt, we talked about Saratoga already, but what about our friends on the West Coast, Delmar? Beautiful Delmar on the shore just north of San Diego. Matt, you've been there. I've been there. It's a great place to be, especially in the summer. That cool breeze comes in off the Pacific Ocean, and it's just a paradise, a summer paradise. They actually open on Wednesday, Matt, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the opening day stakes there on Wednesday, which, of course, every year is the Oceanside 3-year-old turf males taking to the Del Mar grass, Matt, and we have a big field for this year's Oceanside.
Yeah, Brian, talk about a tough race to handicap. The Oceanside has drawn 16 entries, which means 14 will probably go in the gate. It's for 3-year-olds, and we were already on the show been talking about how wide open the 3-year-old division is. 3-year-olds, a mile on the turf, a restricted race, basically for 3-year-olds that haven't won an important stakes race. And so right there, the conditions say this is going to be a wide open race. Lots of speed in the race. Horses coming out of races down the hill at Santa Anita. Lots of speed in there. Probably, I guess, Arawak is the most noteworthy name in there. Maybe has a class advantage in the race, but this is going to be an easy one for anybody. I'm assuming there's going to be a big price in the winner's circle after this one.
Well, good, because my top pick in here, Matt, is certainly I think he will be a bomb. I agree with you. Del Mar has been a track where I've seen a lot of horses, the turf course there, where horses have come from back, and with the expected fast pace as they come over from Santa Anita or Lasalle to Del Mar, I think it's really going to set up this 1-mile turf race for closers. Arawak makes a lot of sense, as you mentioned, although I don't think he's the favorite on the morning line. The son of Uncle Mo for Doug O'Neill. I think Move Over, the English import for Ronis Racing, and John Sadler also makes a lot of sense. Both of them can come from off the pace. And there'll be two of the horses that they're betting. No one will be low in here. And we haven't even mentioned probably the most noteworthy horse of all in here is California Chrome's full brother Faversham, who seemed to wake up last time, winning very nicely on the grass in his last race. And he can rally a little bit, so maybe even the California Chrome brother, Art Sherman, still maintains that he's a very talented horse. So Faversham will be a horse that a lot of people are rooting for in the Oceanside, and I can't throw him out. But the horse I landed on is my top pick, Matt, 20-1 on the morning line. A horse named Pepe Tono, a horse who's run against a lot of good horses. He actually ran against Justified twice in a row. So this will be a little bit of a class relief, as you like to say, for him. But I really like his last race on turf where he encountered some traffic problems and came running at the end. His only win so far in his career was when he came from way back. So let him run fast early, let him close late, and Pepe Tono, a bomb, is my pick in the Oceanside.
Okay, Brian, I was afraid we were going to end up on the same bomb in this race, but we're not. I got another bomb in there, another big number on the morning line. I'm gonna say that my pick is Artie Be Good in there. Another horse that woke up last time, ran a big one, got a nice speed figure in there, just as good as any of the other horses, came rallying from behind. So, like you said, I'm looking for fast early fraction to set it up for Artie Be Good, who I think is maybe 30-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, Artie Be Good is another horse that I looked at. Certainly, I don't know if he'll be as far back as the horse I like, Pepe Tomo, but hopefully they'll take him off the lead at this mile distance, and another horse who has a chance. So good pick there, Matt. We both are giving out long shots. That's always fun. Opening day at Del Mar, Matt. We got a lot to look forward to at Del Mar this year, as always. And with the weekend, we have the Eddie Reed, which is always a nice turf race on Sunday. But Saturday, we have really the leader of the handicap division, Accelerate. He's getting a lot of weight. He's been carrying weight lately, or at least in this day and age. I think he was pegged with 125, so he'll be giving a bunch of weight in the San Diego Handicap. Of course, we remember what happened last year in the San Diego Handicap, Matt. That's where Arrogate finally lost a race. He didn't run much at all, but Accelerate won for fun. I think he likes Del Mar, and this year he's been doing it away from Del Mar. Santa Anita Handicap, the Gold Cup, Accelerate has really been good this year. The returning champ comes back in the San Diego, and probably the horse that ran second to him in the big cap, Mubtahish, your old friend Mubtahish, will be his top competition in Saturday's San Diego.
Yeah, Accelerate certainly is going to be a big favorite in there. There's not a lot of competition out there in the handicap division, so we'll see how long Accelerate can keep his winning ways going.
Yeah, and if he runs like he did in last year's San Diego, look out, Accelerate. If he isn't already on the top of the list as far as handicap horses in 2018, he very well may be after Saturday at Del Mar for the San Diego. So Matt, Saratoga, Del Mar, opening, what a week. What a great week for race fans. If you're going to north of San Diego there, you're going north of Albany there to Saratoga, enjoy it, fans, a great time. Or if you're just like me and you're going to be watching from home and placing a few bets, summertime has arrived. Del Mar, Saratoga, what more could a racing fan want? As always, I want to thank our sponsor, the best contest site out there, Derby Wars. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel here on Horse Racing Nation, please do that. And Matt, we're moving forward with our venture, Derby Day Racing. Our Looking at Lucky, the sire of Accelerate, by the way, our Looking at Lucky filly is settling into the barn of Buff Bradley here at Churchill Downs. I really have my eye on a few colts now as our next purchase for the 2-year-old. So if you're not, there's still room. If you're not into the partnership, Matt, what should they do?
They should get in touch with us. Go to the DerbyDayRacing.com website, and there's plenty of information there.
Absolutely. We have openings left. Join us. We're going to be getting a couple more promising 2-year-olds for Derby Day Racing. Matt, can I get a parting shot from you on opening week at Del Mar and Saratoga?
As you folks already saw how excited I am about heading up to upstate New York. But of course, as always, I want to thank our friend, our producer, Brett Workman, for putting together the show.
As we delve into the season here at Saratoga and Del Mar, we are going to have a lot to talk about every week right here on HorseCenter. Don't miss an episode. We'll be back next week. See you then.